Okay, not such an easy daf tonight. Uh, we are 1, 2, 3, about 10 lines up in the bottom on Samach Bava base. Yeah, see Amar of Nachman. So again, we were going through the sugya yesterday. And yesterday's daf was whether asmachta is kanya or not. Asmachta again is if you say to somebody, I'm going to give you this field on condition A, B, and C. So that's an asmachta, meaning you're not definitely giving it to him. Something else has to happen in order for the kinyan to go through. So we basically were saying that asmachta is not kanya, which is why gambling is an issue, because you really didn't mean to give the guy the money. Right? So Amar Rav Nachman Hashda, the Amar Rabbanon asmachta le kanya. Now that we said that the Rabbanon said that asmachta is not kanya, right? So then hodar arav hadri peri. So if a guy does take the field, right? Because we were talking about whether the malva is going to get the field, right? So if the guy did take the field and he ate the peiros, then it has to all go back, right? Because since asmachta is not kanya, so the guy was basically eating something that didn't belong to him. Yeah. So therefore, it goes back, even though it was a mistake, etc., but it goes back. Yeah. So the Gemara says, "Lamemra the Savar of Nachman, Mechila b'tois lo yam mechila." So Rav Nachman's basically saying that it was a mistake. So the guy ate the fruit; he shouldn't have eaten the fruit, right? So so it must be that if it was a mechila b'tois, then lo have a mechila. It's not a mechila. Right? It doesn't work, and the food has to go back. Meaning, if the mechila does work, meaning if he by mistake ate the fruit, and we say, "Oh, it was a mechila b'tais," so therefore let him keep it. But now we're saying, no, he does not. He cannot keep it. Right? So it's not a mechila. But we learned let's say a guy sells the fruit of a date tree to his friend, meaning, but the fruit didn't grow yet. Amar Rav Huna, it was like basically like options. So Amar Rav Huna, even if they did a kinyan, but as long as the fruit didn't yet grow, he could change his mind. But once the fruit grows and he can't change his mind, right? Because they made a kinyan already, and now the things are in this and I mean he made the kinyan, even with something on Davar Shalom Bala, and that works. Right? But Rav Nachman says no. Even when the fruit grew, you can be chayzer, right? Because he holds ain't other makna davar shalom b'lo'olam. The first Tana holds that you can, because other makna davar shalom you can do a kinyan of things that didn't yet come into the world. Rav Nachman, Maidina di shamit va'achil, but I am maida that if he did take the fruit off the tree. The word shamit means from the word shmita. He slips it off. If he slips the food off the tree and eats it, then we don't take it away from him. Meaning, so really, we're saying davar shalom b'lo'olam. You're not going to something that didn't yet come into the world. Even after it came into the world, you're not going to. But if you did take and you can back out whenever you want. But if you chose to if the guy if he didn't want to go into, meaning the guy I'm sorry, no, it's not explaining correctly. According to Rav Nachman, you can back out of this until you do another kinyan. That's what I'm assuming, right? Until then, you can back out. But even if you didn't back out, if the guy who sold it, the guy who bought it kept the fruit, then he's allowed to keep it. I mean, obviously he has to pay for it, but he's allowed to keep it. Now, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. If the kinyan wasn't a kinyan, so it's a mistake. So the Gemara, so that's a stira, because Rav Nachman just said if somebody makes a mistake, the stuff goes back. When it answers Hasam Zvini Hacha Halva. Now there, by the date tree, we're talking about a Zvini. It's talking about when it was purchased. So an Hacha Halva, but here we're talking about by the Asmachta, we're talking about where the guy borrowed money, gave him the field as collateral, and the guy was eating the fruit in the interim. So that's much worse, because if the guy ate the fruit and then the loan goes back, then that, which we're going to see a lot more of in tonight's stop, then like Rashi says, it's going to look like ribbis, right? Because how did the whole field get to him? It got to him through a loan, right? So, and then he says it even looks like, right? It even looks like that it's real ribbis, not just avak ribbis, ribbis katsutza. Okay, so Amar Rava, on to today's daf now. Have a Yisivna Kamed Rav Nachman. So Rava said, I was sitting in front of Rav Nachman. Again, Rav Nachman said that if somebody's Michael something by mistake, then the money goes back. So I was sitting in front of Rav Nachman. I know. I wanted to ask him a kasha from Aina, from the last parak, right? Because what's the din by Aina? If it's more than a sixth, you have to give it all back, right? Even though you already have it. So you see that mechila. Goes back. Well, we'll see it in a minute. But he was medayik chazes and islandness, and he wanted to show me as a proof of islandness. Okay, so what was going on? I know the mechila b'tois. We say that mechila, it's a mechila b'tois, but lo have a mechila, and it's not a mechila, right? Meaning he has to go. It goes back, right? So that's a kasha of Nachman. But he was being medayik, and he wanted to show me a proof of islandness. Islandness, the mechila b'tois, an islandness is a mechila b'tois, right? Because if you marry an islandness is a woman that cannot have, she doesn't mature, right? So mamela, she doesn't mature, so the whole marriage is not a marriage, it's mekach tois. So what happens with all the stuff that she brings into the marriage? So let's see. So the mechila b'toisi. So island is the mechila b'toisi v'avi mechila, and we said it is a mechila, right? The Tanan hamama'enes. So a girl who does miyun. So miyun is a case of a girl whose father passed away, and her mother and her brothers married her off. She's allowed to walk out of that marriage whenever she wants. Bashniya, and a second level relative, which is derabanan, meaning you have siblings. Or that's last week's parsha, right? You're not allowed to marry the mother, but what about the grandmother, right? But meaning the second level for islandess, and an islandess is somebody that she cannot have kids, and she fooled the guy. Ainland like suba, so when they get divorced, or they don't even have to get divorced, the marriage is not even a marriage, right? Ainland like suba, like peiros, like bezainis, like belois. They don't get suba, they don't get their peiros, meaning the stuff that the husband ate, and like mezainas, and they don't get fed for like belois, and not for their worn out clothing that she's supposed to get paid. She gets nothing. Even though. So why are we saying she gets nothing? Right? So it must be that the toys is mechila. Right? It's considered a total mechila. So that would be a proof that it's considered a mechila. So the Gemara says, none of these, the proof, the kasha from I know is not a kasha, and the island is not a proof. Yeah, I know is not a kasha on Rab Nachman. Island is Messiah, and island is not a proof to him. I know to yufte. I know is not a kasha on him. The isa and the machal gabe, because by I know it's something different. He didn't know he's getting ripped off. Like we always discuss, we have no idea if we're getting ripped off or not. All right. So Mamela, that's not considered that he's saying I'm being Michael the Mechila, right? Meaning he doesn't even know to be Michael. So maybe you can't bring any proof from that. You can't bring any kasha from that. The loy island is Messiah, and you can't bring a proof from islandist either. Now this one is this shot right here is wild. Why? Because it's islandist is very happy to give up on all the things she brought into the marriage and not get it back. Why? The nichala the tepik Allah shma de ishus, because she's very happy that it can go out there that she was once married. Meaning, even though comes out that this woman is just happy, even though her marriage was null and void, but she's happy that she could at least tell people that she was once married.
Does this mean that it's completely usher to spread, even as shadchanas, that she's an islandess?
What do you mean?
Otherwise, Yatzischar Bev Seda. So she was once married, but everyone knows she's an islandess. Well, she's got nowhere.
I'm not sure what you're saying. I'm saying she's an islandess and she fooled
so
her
she
husband.
Wants to be,
she fooled her husband.
Right, but now she's going. Her husband knows now.
Right.
So she loses.
Now, but she gets nothing back.
Whatever. Yeah.
She doesn't get anything back, right? No ksuba, no nothing.
So we're saying that she is willing to forego all of that because now it's known that she was once married. She's marriageable.
Is that the pshat, or she could tell people that she was married?
What's the gain with that, though?
Because she feels good about it, that she's in the boat. She's in. That's why I understood it. She feels happy with it because she's in the ballpark. She can still tell, even married.
If she gets the stuff back, she can still tell people she was married.
What do you mean? No,
she was married.
She's very happy to lose the money.
For what? For what gain?
It's not considered a mechila. There's no mechila. There's no mechila necessary. She's very happy. You tell her, pay 10 grand and this guy will marry you for a day or two, and then you go out scot-free. Right?
Yeah, that is a mechila, but it's not a mechila b'tos. That's what we're saying.
That's right. That's the terror, right? It's not a mechila b'tos. She's very happy.
So what did she gain, though? She gains what? So she can get remarried now because she was once married? Or Stam, she can say, I was married for 3 weeks.
The way I understood it, she could just say she's married for 3 weeks.
That's worth. I don't really follow.
I said I didn't understand it either. But
Gershon, maybe if the guy was like you, and she could say I was married to Gershon Russell for 10 days. Could you imagine?
That's certainly not worth it.
The simcha she would have to be able to say that to people. Come on.
To have that on your resume is priceless.
She got dips. Yerushalmi Kugels. I mean, she lived it up. Yeah.
It's Yaakov.
Yes.
Got to live in Cleveland.
Thank you for pumping my ego. I'm really happy I didn't go back into the ER tonight.
She was able to go to Tells and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, both. Gershon took us to both of them.
Yeah, I don't know if the Olam's aware of that one, Raban. What are you saying, Akiva?
I mean, the nothing's a little bit schwer, no? Like I don't know about the island is whether she's Michael or not, but I know every Mechil B'Taz you could have the same time.
No, usually the Paris that I'm a base before, there is a Mechila. He's Michael the Paris. It is
in that case, yeah.
Really
but here, what's I didn't know about it. Every Mechila B'Tois is a B'Tois, no?
But he's not. We're saying that's not a Tois.
What?
So
what is a classification of Mechila B'Tois that you would say that, I'm being Michael even though I know it's a Tois? How does that make sense? Mechila B'Tois b'Metzias means I am making a mistake by being Michael.
But Bayano, what's the Mechila Bayano? Maybe I got the case wrong. What's the case of Bayano, the Tagasha?
What do you mean? It's not a Mechila B'Tois. She was very happy to be illegally married to this guy for a week.
No, I'm not talking about
No, I know.
I'm talking about every.
Oh, no, I know. I just didn't know anything.
So what's the Mechila?
And every Mechila? What does it mean to be mechil b'tois then? What would a normal case of mechil b'tois be then?
Wait, Akiva, I think I'm missing something here.
I'm
I
also.
thought the Gemara's answer is there is no mechila by enough.
And
wasn't Michael
when is
anything.
there ever mechila b'tois? I'm just trying to understand the case.
No, by the Paris on a base. He was Michael the Paris. The guy, the buyer ate the Paris. Really, the guy could be Chayzer. He was Michael. But
then
only
it's not
because
a
he
case
didn't
of mechila
get it
b'tois.
back.
Then that's the Gemara's teretz. That's
No, because he thought it was his. He thought it belonged to the buyer. When he finally realizes later, he was already Michael Batos.
Who says he was Michael at that point?
Well, that's the deal.
Then it's not b'tois. He was Michael.
At the time of the Mechila, it was Batos.
Well, no, it wasn't. He knows that it was done wrong, and he's still fine with it. I'm confused.
No,
if he knows it was b'tois, then it was a mistake. If it was a mistake, if he knows about it, it's not b'tois. And if he doesn't know about it, he didn't know about it, and it's like I know.
Yeah, but it's okay. Meaning he knew that he was getting into some sort of deal, and he didn't care. Can that be it? It didn't bother him. That's what I think. Anyway, it's getting late, so but I think so. But anyways, I get this is not easy. It's not easy Gemaras to understand exactly what this mechila b'tois is. 100%, Akiva, I'm with you.
I'm saying Taisus does not learn up the case of the other case like that at all. He says the case of Paris is not really mechila b'tois at all. He's
okay.
Whatever. I'm just saying. So I agree with Gershon in that point that the case is not at all mechila b'tois. But then, what are we talking about in a normal case of mechila b'tois? The Gemara's teretz of Ainah can apply to every single mechila b'tois,
right?
At least in my mind.
And you have to. It's yes.
So then, what is every single case of mechila b'tois? That's what I'm saying. If what we're saying is true legabe Ainah, it should be true by every single case of mechila b'tois. What would the havamina be?
Correct.
Any case of mechila b'tois that you should ever be able to keep the whatever it is.
Right. No, I'm asking. You have to. Yeah, it's a fine line. It's a fine line where it's mechila b'tois. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, let's see Vita. So there was a woman who told a man, Zil zavinli ara mikrivai, go buy me land from my relatives, right? And her name was Navla. That we're going to see from the Gemara Vita that her name was Navla. It took me a long time to figure that out. But anyways, this lady whose name was Navla said to a guy, to a shliach, go buy me land from my relative. Also, unless he went and bought it. Amar Le, the guy selling the land, said to the shliach, Yavali Zuzi, Mahadart lo neheli. If I'm going to have money, meaning I'm selling the land, obviously I need the cash. But if I'm going to get cash back, I want to be able to buy back the land. Amar Le, so the shliach said, At v'navla ache. You and Navla are, well, literally ache means brothers, but you're relatives. Meaning you work it out yourselves. I'm just the middleman. I'm just the shliach. You guys work it out yourselves. Right? So the shaila is, did he agree or not? So Amar Rahuna kol at v'navla achi. Omar, anytime when somebody says at v'navla achi Omar samcha daite, that means that meaning if the shliach is the one that said it, you and Navla are related, so that means the seller's taking that as sort of okay, you're giving me that opening that I could buy back the field. The loigamar or makni, and he does not have a gemiras das, and he's not maknit fully, meaning he's sort of maknit temporarily, right? So, yeah. So the meaning, because I don't know, for some reason this phrase makes it sound like that the guy is willing to let you in the door. Okay, So the Gemara says, so since there was no smichas das, so then he can go be paid of the field. So Ara Hadra, so if you're saying that he could, meaning he can go buy it back. Ara Hadra, so he goes when he gives the money, right? The seller, when he gets money, he goes back to the buyer and buys back the land. Fine. But Peiramai, what about the fruits? Right? Because the fruits, who gets the fruits that the guy who bought the field in the interim, let's say it was 5 years till the seller came back and bought back his field. And during those 5 years, obviously the buyer used the fruits. So what's the status of those fruits now? Ribis Ketzutza Havi, is it considered Mamish, Ribis Ketzutza, Ribis Daraisa, right? Because it was a set Ribis, the Yaitzin the Dayanan, and the Dayanan come take it out. Because basically, we've said a few times, this is Ribis, it's Mamish Ribis, because essentially what happened here is that the buyer gave a loan to the seller, and in lieu of that loan, he not only did he get back his money 5 years later, using our example, he also got to use the fruit for 5 years. So that's Mamish Ribis. Is it Ribis Daraisa? In which case, as we know that Ribis Daraisa, Bezdin takes away. Like Dilma ki avak Ribis, no, just Ribis Darabanan, Vein Yotzin, and we know the Ribis Darabanan, we can't take it out. He's supposed to give it back, but we can't take it from him.
How is that possible by Mechir referred to me Ribis Ksusa?
What?
How is it possible by a case of Ribis by Mechir for it to be Ribis Ksusa? First of all, it's Tzadach of Ribis over here. According to Rabbi Yehuda, this would not be Ribis at all. So the Gemara has it, and the Gemara is, and it's a din Mechir. Hachas Zvini v'Hasam Alva. How could you ever, by a case of Zvini, there's such an idea of Ribis Ksusa?
It seems like yes.
Well, so isn't that what like Gomer Makni means? It's not a Kenyan as a sale. It's alva.
She thinks it's a sale.
Yeah, it's irrelevant if it's not. It is alva. The Metzia says it's alva.
She's not lending you money. She's buying it. He wants to buy it back. It's one side. Like she's buying it, and he might never buy it back from her. Then how's that alva?
That's true. That's Rabbi Yehuda, you say, but not according to
that's what I'm saying. In every side after
no, according to Enoch, this doesn't apply. It's true. That is true.
So then how can you, any case of Sadach of Ribis should not be considered a Ribis Ksutza?
There's one side in Rabbeinu Tam in the bottom Tosfos said that when the Gemara says Ribis Ketutza, it doesn't mean Ribis Ketutza. It just means Ribis Ketutza with regard to the fact that you're mitzi.
Meaning that it was arranged, the chatchila.
But it's tzad echad. How could you ever say it was arranged?
Halacha as Ribis Ketutza that you're mitzi, but right, but not that it's Ribis Ketutza mamish. It's just that it's Ribis Ketutza, meaning that you're going to be mitzi, just like
it's not Ribis. He says it's not Ribis. It's because of Mechila B'Tov.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Okay, but
you're right. It's hard to hear it's over here.
Yeah, because it's part of a sale. Yeah. But anyway, so okay, so fine. What am I up to? Lost the place. So is it Rebis Ketzutz or not? So it's like Avak Ribis, meaning it's Ribis the Rabbanon, Vein Yotzim Dayanim, and you cannot take it out with Dayanim. V'chein Omar Rava, right, or Rabba, according to the Bach. Ki Avak Ribis Hava, it's Avak Ribis, Vein Yotzim Dayanim, it doesn't go out with Dayanim. Yeah.
Sorry, can you just say the case quickly?
This case again?
Yeah, just quickly.
They made it the shliach. A lady asked the shliach. I don't know why it has to be a lady, but that's the case, right? The lady asked the shliach to go buy her a field from her relative,
from one of her cousins. Yeah.
The cousin sells the field to her, but then says to the shliach, but by the way, I'm selling this to you because I need cash. But if I ever get back cash, I want to buy it back. So then the shliach says, you and your cousin. All right.
Okay. So what? I'm sorry. So I understand that. So when does we keep on? Whenever we're talking about ribis in such a case, when does it become ribis? If you hold it's ribbis, when does it become ribbis?
Only once you pay it.
So why don't they just pay less and there's no ribbis? Supposed to pay $1,000. I ate $300 worth of fruit, so give me $700, new and finished. Why does who says it has to be ribbis this case? I haven't understood it for 2 weeks.
What do you mean? Because the next step is if the buyer essentially has to give back the field and gets back money, right?
So he just gets back less than what he used. No,
but he's not doing that. He bought the field for $1,000.
Yeah.
5 years later, the guy gives him back his $1,000. Right? He gives him back his $1,000. He buys back his field. Right? And in the interim, those 5 years, the lender, meaning the guy who bought the field, got to eat payers for 5 years.
So he doesn't have to give him back the $1,000, and it's not ribbis.
Oh, so but good, but that's right. But if he does give back the $1,000,
so
why
does the Gemara presume that they made ribbis?
Like, it could be a worse case. Like maybe the field grows.
Why did we make these guys into you didn't do a virus?
Aaron, if this field grows estrogim, there's 5 estrogim trees, and it grows $500 estrogim, right? And the field is worth
all the fields grow $500. Every estrogen tree grows $500, right?
But the field itself,
you just got a bargain. You paid $60 for it, but it's a $500 estrogen.
Yeah.
The field itself is worth $1,000. By her using the payers, she made $50,000. So what's it now?
Yeah, I just don't
Okay, we're gonna see more on the base, Rabban. What you're saying is gonna come in a little bit on the base if we can understand it on the base. But it's in Amid Beis. I think the Gemara is really gonna say what you're saying. I think.
Why didn't we look at this as the whole Bava? Maybe why wasn't this just the same as if I it was a cow, an ox, right, or a cow, and then I got to drink the milk for a couple of years, and then we sell the cow back for the same amount. What else was going to happen to that milk? Same thing with the field. What else was going to happen to the payers of the field? So as long as I was in ownership of the field for that time. Why does that look like as rivers or avak rivers? Why is that? Isn't that the whole Metzia of agriculture?
Right. So that's exactly what I think Akiva's asking. That how can you say it's a sale? How can you say it's rivers? Right.
I'm wondering if the whole Metzia is maybe specific. It's Bedavka with a brother and sister. She knew he was struggling for cash, so she Bedavka went and got a shliach, not to embarrass him. She wants to give him money to float him. So she did this, and she was completely masking that it should be a halva in the end. All she wants to do is give him a little cash. So the whole thing is, by both sides, it's a halva now. She wants him to come back and take the field back.
Yeah.
The ultimate Don Chafskos.
Well.
No, maybe it's mashma from the specifics of the story that something like that is going on.
Yeah. So anyway, okay, let's see weiter. So that's part of this whole sugya of what's the chiyuv, meaning not the chiyuv. What is the? Are we talking about a halva? Are we talking about a business? That's what Akiva was saying, and then we'll see on Amid Beis that there does have to be subtractions here. Because otherwise, how do you understand these deals where a guy takes a field and then there's he's using the fruit in the middle. How is that not rivers? Okay, so let's see weiter. So Amalei Abaya, the Rabbah. So Abaya asked the Shaila to Rabbah. Mashkanta mai. So if you have a mashkin, right, which is the classic, somebody borrows money and he gives him the field, the collateral, right? Right. So then the same shaila, right? So meaning hasam time amai mishum deloy kaitzla. There by the selling, they didn't make an exact agreement. mean, we said it's avak ribbis, it's not real ribbis, because there was no arrangement. Let's call it that. There wasn't an arrangement that oh, you're going to give me the field and then I'm going to give you the payers, but it happened that way. So chanami like katzla. So here too, it wasn't arranged. Dilma, we say Hasam Zvini, well, maybe there was only avak ribbis, like sort of like what Akiva was saying, because it was business, it was a sale. Hacha halva, but here by mashkin it's a halva. So if he goes and eats the fruit, so then of the mashkin, and then he gives back the mashkin, then it's going to look like it's straight ribbis. So Amalei Hasam time mishum delay katzlei. There, the reason is because they didn't make an agreement. Here too, they didn't make an agreement, even though it's really a halva and it should be worse. But no, since the agreement wasn't made, it's considered avak ribbis. Fine. Amar Papi, Avar Ravina Uvda. Yeah, so Ravina made a psak. Uvda, like it was. It's another word for psak. The choshev va'apik peri, and he made a calculation, and he took the payers away from him. The loiker Ravuna, meaning because he held it was the ribbis ketzutza, ribbis daraisa. So therefore he took the payers away. I mean, he made a cheshbon exactly how much extra payers was taken, and that's ribbis daraisa, and he took it away, which is the loiker Ravuna, not like Ravuna who said that it's avak ribbis and it doesn't get taken away. Fine. A different case. Amar Mar Breder Rav Yosef Shmei Derava. Mashkanta, so again a mashkin, right, which is a collateral. So now, there were a few different. We're going to see on Tomei Beis. We're going to basically come out that there's 3, maybe 4 different ways of treating a mashkin. Meaning the classic mashkin is somebody lends money to another fellow, and the guy gives him a field and says to him, "If I don't pay you back in 3 years, you get to keep the field." Right? Now the question is, during the interim, can he use the payers or not? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, does the guy get to use the field for 3 years? Meaning, is there a prepay? What do you call it? When you prepay a loan, there's a penalty, right? A prepayment penalty. I think they have it on leased cars. If you lease a car,
sometimes
right?
they do.
Sometimes they have it.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it's called.
Sometimes you have a what do they call it?
It's a prepayment penalty.
Prepayment penalty, right? So then some towns allowed prepayments and didn't penalize the guy, and other towns didn't. Meaning, so if you told the guy it's a 3-year loan, and then after a year and a half you decide, you know what, I got the money, I won the lottery, I want the field back. So that's another question: can you go take it back or not? Right, so those are the 2 basic things here. So he says, Haj mashkanta ba'asa de misalki. If it's in a town where you are allowed to, misalki literally means to lift him up. Meaning you can pull the guy out of the field, right? Before the loan is due. So ochel shir zuzi. So now what? He wants to pull him out. So now if he ate the shir zuzi, meaning the amount of money of the loan. So let's say it was $1,000 loan, due in 3 years. After a year and a half, the lender, the borrower wants to pay everything back, and the lender already ate that $1,000 worth. A year and a half in, he already ate $1,000 worth of fruit. So ochel shirzuzi misalkin, then he just gets out. We take him out, and he doesn't have to pay. The borrower does not have to pay. Ochel tfei, but if he ate more than the price of the loan, we don't pull him out because it's avak ribbis. Right? Why? Because it wasn't arranged. It wasn't an arrangement. Right? Again, it's difficult to understand the nuances of why one yes and one no. Right? But the point is because this is a town where they allow it. What?
Leimafkina mine means we don't pull him out of the field, or we don't take away the extra from him. We don't make him pay the extra to the borrower.
Well, why would he have to pay? No, misalki. What do you mean, mafkina or misalkina? What are you asking?
Mafkina, I think you typed.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Masalkina means to remove him from the field, But he eats more, meaning he gets to keep the fruit. Right, because it's avak ribis. I said not like that. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Mafkinon means we don't take if he ate more, we take the field away from him, but he got away with it because it's avak ribis. It wasn't arranged like that. But not only that's one thing, but let's say he has multiple loans. So we can't go say, okay, you know what? Let's take the fruit. He overpaid, whatever, he over collected on this loan when they have another loan, so let's apply it to the other loan. Right? You can't do that either. But if it's Yisaimim, so then which means that the town is really in charge of the Yisaimim. So if they took the Yisaimim's fields and they barred against it, but if he ate that amount, then we kick him out. And if he ate more, then we do take the fruit away from him, right? And we would apply the extra from one star to another star, right?
Why are we dealing with Hilchas Ribis here? If the guy ate more than he was owed, why isn't he a straight out Gana?
Because the way I understand it is he's entitled to have that field for us, whatever comes out of it.
Only until the guy pays him back. If he ate $1,000 worth of payros and then he keeps eating, he's a ganef now. He already got his money back.
I understand, but the deal is that you get to use the field for the entire length of the loan.
Rashi doesn't say the deal was you get to use it. Rashi says it was stam. He has the mashkin.
Right.
So there was nothing. There's no cut. If it was cut, then it's ribis ksusa.
So we
and
have
that'll
to
be a
see
big problem.
If it's not cuts, why isn't he a ganef?
Also, if Balchlev is
Because he's taking it as ribis.
then-
It's not ribis. It's ribis avak ribis. It's ribis. It's ribis darabanan. He's taking it as ribis.
Okay, when he started eating the payros, he understood he was taking the money for the loan. He was repaying himself by eating payros.
No, he was taking it as ribis.
When he ate dollar number one,
It was for ribis. He wanted to take it for ribis.
how's dollar number one is never going to be ribis.
Well, first of all, there's going to be a dissenting shita Rabashi who does hold it as ribis.
Well, that's the next.
Ribis. So Rabashi definitely holds this ribis, and it's a question of how if we look at him inside the Leiv or the Malva. The Leiv definitely looking at it the way you're looking at it. The Malva looks at it, I'm taking ribis darabanan, and you can't be mafkin minay.
Okay, I don't really understand how it makes a difference how I'm looking at something if I steal something.
So I mean,
If I
Rabashi
steal
definitely
something
looked at
from
it that
you
way.
and I decide that, I'm not looking at it as stealing. I'm removing it from your hands for a couple of minutes.
No, I'm taking it as ribis darabanan. Yeah.
Well, it's like, he's stealing. Who cares what he's thinking when he's stealing? I don't really.
Okay, we got to go by. I'm saying we're not gonna, we're going to go around in circles.
Yeah, we're not going to make it to Ahmed B's.
Yeah, Ezu Neshech is not meant for Daf Yomi.
There's always tomorrow.
What? That's true, but anyways.
Jacob, the guys are coming to sell the chametz. You got to get the Meyer. Let's go.
That's true. I do have to get the Meyer, but so
Guys, I'll try whatever I can here.
He's taking over parrots. So, anyways, by Yisayim, we take it away from them. And for them, we can go from star to star. So obviously, Yisayim have a different din. So Rav Ashi said he's chaylik on this. Now that we said that if the guy eats more, meaning the lender, I don't even know how to call them. The lender eats more fruit, we don't take it away from him. Ochal shir zuzi nami. So if he eats the shir zuzi, loy misalkina le beloy zuzi. So this is a whole lumdus over here. He's saying that if you hold that if the guy overeats on the fruit, you don't take it away from him, then even if he eats the same exact amount of fruit as was the cost of the loan or the price of the loan, then you cannot kick him out without giving him back his money for the loan. My time, because if you kick him out of the field without giving him back his loan, meaning you just tell him, oh, the fruit you ate is yours, Afukim minehu. That's like taking away money from him, right? Because since he wasn't, meaning the original plan was not that this guy's eating the fruit in order to get paid back for his loan, right? It was just a collateral. Now that you're doing that, so essentially what you're doing is you're saying, this is your fruit, and that's your own payment, and now we're taking away the field. So then that's like taking the extra that he took away from him. And that's avak ribis. Avak ribis ain't a yotze b'dayanan. And you cannot take away ribis to Rabbanan. See, so Rav Ashi has a twist on it, and he says that it's not going to, if you're going to hold that if he overeats the fruit, then it's a problem. So then it would be a problem even when he ate the exact amount of the loan. And over Rav Ashi had a case like this, by Yosamim Ketanim, on Tom Bezar, and there you go, Kigedoilim. And he made it like they were Gedoilim. That which Rashi says, even though they ate a shir zuz, he didn't take them out. Right? Because it's only avak ribis. Fine. Omar Rava Braid Rav Yosef Mishmei de Rava. So Rava, the son of Rav Yosef, said in the name of Rava. So he said in the name of his. So he was, I guess. Again, this is not Rava talking in his own name, right? It's two different Ravas here. I mean, that's you have to say that, right? So Hai Mashkanta. So this thing that we call a mashkan, right? The collateral. If it's in a place, if it's in a town that you're allowed to remove him early, meaning you're allowed to prepay without a penalty, loy nechel, so then the lender shouldn't eat. Ella ben This is what Rabbanan was talking about, I think. That the lender cannot eat fruit unless he subtracts something. Because if he doesn't subtract from the chayiv, then it's going to be ribis. Right? Meaning, if he says, okay, I'm going to eat the field, but let's say it was $1,000 loan over 5 years, right? So let's say, he doesn't have to do the exact number, but for every year that he eats the fruit, he subtracts a little bit of the loan, right? And Mamela, you're not going to have a problem of ribis. But for Tzur Rabbanan, but a Talmud Chacham can't do this. He shouldn't do it even with subtracting, because the whole thing looks shady, and we want a young Talmud Chacham to be on the up and up. Okay, so so for Talmud Chacham lends out money and he gets a field as collateral. So how is he going to eat from the field? So the Gemara says bikitzusa, right? It's some sort of kitzusa is an arrangement, which the Gemara is going to say in a minute. So when it asks, that only works according to Mandama that says that an arrangement is good to take away the ribis issue. But according to Mandama that says that a kitzusa is also Michael Meimar. So what are you going to say? The itmar. Now, what is this kitzusa? What's kitzusa? The itmar. Kitzusa, right? You make some sort of deal. Pliga b'Rav Ravina is actually machlekes Rav and Ravina. Chad amar kitzusa sharia. One says it's mutter, v'chad amar kitzusa asira. One says this arrangement is asa. Hechi dami kitzusa. What is kitzusa? The amar alei, where the lender tells the borrower, right? For the first 5 years, I'm eating the fruit of the field without any sort of subtraction from the loan. But from there and on, meaning after 5 years, then I am going to pay you full price for all your fruit. Right? So this is an arrangement where the first 5 years he's getting it for free, and then after that he's going to pay full. So
why isn't there ribis kitzusa?
Huh?
Why isn't there ribis deraisa?
Because he's working. He's working the field. Since he's working the field, that's how he's getting his payment. It was a form of sharecropping. That's what the Rashi. I think Rashi is it Rashi. No, it's not Rashi. Somebody says that's a fair. It's a form of sharecropping. That the first 5 years you take everything, and then the next 5 years you pay for everything, whatever. But the main point is that the guy's doing work. So since the guy's doing work in the field, the male is not ribis. So that's a machlokes between Ravach and Ravina. Amri. So others say no, the other way. Kol b'loy nechyasa aser. If they do it without nechyasa, it's aser. You have to do a nechyasa. You have to subtract from the loan every year. Otherwise, it's going to be ribis. Meaning again, because the lender is eating the fruits from the field. So if he doesn't subtract off the loan, then it's going to be ribis because he's getting a lot of extra fruit. What would be the case of kitzusa? The first 5 years, I'm going to eat it with a deduction or reduction. From then on, I'm going to evaluate all the payers. Okay, so meaning the first shot is you can do kitzusa without nichyasa. The second shot is saying no, you have to always do a nichyasa, right? Question is, I think this is what it's saying. The question is, you also have to do a kitzusa. So manda also bekamaisa shari b'sraisa, the one that allows it in the first case, without any nichyasa, just the kitzusa. So then shari b'sraisa. Then for sure, if you have a nichyasa together with a kitzusa, I know it sounds like code words over here, but if you do a nichyasa with a kitzusa, it sounds like I know what I'm talking about. I don't. Whatever. I'm saying over basic shot, but I can't say I understand it more than that. So mandos of besraisa, but the one that says it in the last case where you need both, heichi shari lemechol. How is it possible to ever eat? Right? Meaning you have to have both. So Gemara says shari ki mashkanta desura. It's mutter if you do what's called a mashkanta desura, which we had somewhere before. I don't remember where, but we had not in Metzia. But mashkanta desura is the way they did it in Syria. They had a special way of doing a mashkanta. What is it? The kasiva hachi. This is what was written in the documents. B'mishalem shnaya elain tepuk ara da beloy kesef, which is basically you can take back your field after the loan is due without any money. Meaning mashkanta is basically you lend a guy money, and you tell the guy, here's a field, and you're going to use the field, and that's how you're paying yourself back. And at the end of the loan, you get back the field, and that's it. So that is the only way, according to this last shot, the only way you can give a field, as a collateral, and the guy and the lender could actually eat the fruit, is mashkanta desura. All the other arrangements that we said before, whether it's a town deloy misalki, where they don't let you prepay, or it's in a town where they do let you prepay, or with nechyasa, kitzusa beloy nechyasa, kitzusa benechyasa. The article Grada has a very nice synopsis of all the options here, right? So, and meaning this is basically, all these things are ways to make it that you're giving a field as collateral, and the lender will be able to eat the fruits. And the question is how to do that without having a ribis issue. That's really what it is. So there's a bunch of options. He can pay down the loan a little bit. That's one way. That's nichyasa. Then you have kitzusa. Then you have, and the simplest one, which seems to be, is the mashkanta desura, which is the arrangement is just take the fruit, and that's how you're paying yourself back. That I think would work according to everybody, right? Okay, fine. Rapapa Ravuna Breda.
Though in the case of mashkanta desura, if it's a bastard masalki, you could get rid of him in the middle, and he was eating all those years. So it's sort of like he gets extra because you're paying him off at that point. Let's say it was a 10-year arrangement, and he paid, and the loan was for $1 million, and you pay him $1 million in year 4. So he ate for 4 years, Paris. You still have to pay him back $1 million because the arrangement was for 10 years. No?
Correct.
So then the guy benefited 4 years. He got $1 million and 4 years worth of Paris. I'm just saying, like, it ends up being that he did benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear. I wish I understood it well enough to say for sure, but I don't. What should I tell you? Okay, so let's see about the Rapova, Rafuna, Breda, Rishu, Amri Torah. They both say high mashkanta, high mashkanta ba'asin the masalki. If you have a mashkin in a town where you're allowed to remove him, meaning you're allowed to prepay, ain balchay goyva himena. Right. So now, the question is this field considered the lenders or the borrowers? Right? Because essentially the borrower can come take it back from the lender whenever he wants. On the other hand, the lender didn't yet receive the money that he lent, so maybe the field's his. So there's a few scenarios where you can say that the field is not mamish legitimately considered his. Right? So ein bal chayiv goyva himena. So we know that when there's a bal chayiv, if you sell your house, so we discussed it yesterday with that's what you have the what's it called, those guys? Title, thank you, right? The title, thank you, right? So if a guy sells a field and he's a bal chayiv, so he's allowed to come, the bal chayiv is allowed to come take that field, right? But here, in this case, if there's a bal chayiv to the lender, he cannot take this field, right? Because the lender of this other loan can come take the field back from whenever he wants. And the Bechor does not get double either, because the halach is by a Bechor getting Pishnayim, a Bechor only gets Pishnayim on cash on hand. He does not get on accounts receivable. So this is also not considered, this land is not considered.
Once again, we get messed over. Once again.
Correct. Yeah. Right, so he doesn't get Pishnayim because this is not considered like a field that's right then and there. Ushvius mishamtasa, and not only that, but shvius, it's not considered. Normally, we know that when you have Shemitah wipes out loans unless it's done on land. So unless the guy has land, then it doesn't wipe it out. This is not considered like he has land, right? Because it's not really legitimately the lenders. Because at any time the borrower can take it back. Ubasa delay masalki, but if it's a town where he cannot prepay. Right, there is a major prepay penalty. I don't even know it's a penalty. I don't think they allow it. And then balchayiv goyvim, and then we look at it like for those few years, it's considered mamish like the lenders. Ubechar noito pishnayim, and it's considered like cash on hand, not cash mamish, but it's considered like it's liquid, I guess. Liquid's not the right word either. And shvius will not cancel because it's looked at as if it's his land. Fine. High mashkanta, this mashkanta ba'asa de masalki, in a place where they can prepay. Masalki le, you can knock him out vafilu mitamre de uvde, even from dates that are on the davude, that are already on the floor or on the mats. Meaning they put mats under the palm trees in order to catch the things. So it's meaning that at that point you think, okay, the fruit fell off the tree and it's on these mats, it should go to him. But no, we say no, even those fruits he has to give up. But if he already picked it up in a basket, then he's koined, because that was already a kinyan hagba. He's already koined for himself, that he doesn't lose. And according to the mandoma that says that kalim of a buyer that's in the property of the seller, then the lekeach is kaina, meaning even if without hagba, afilu delay hagba, then even without picking it up, he is kaina, because and those mats are considered like his kalim, so then he wouldn't have to lift it up. Right, so basically, we're saying here that if it's we're just saying the difference is between a place that they allow you to prepay the loan and where they don't allow you to prepay the loan. Okay, we'll stop over there. I hope it was semi-understandable. Okay, let's say a Tillim, pay Gimel. Shimmer's Molo. So